Kongversation.
I recall faint memories. I was traveling with a talking plush gorilla who's now producing TV in France, and a sentient swirling mass of spiders. They feel like the memories of another person, the memories of someone suffering from lead poisoning.
Hello and welcome to the Kongversation. I'm Hyle Russell.
I'm David Thomas Lynch.
And on this episode, we're finally discussing our first thoughts, or like 7th or 8th or 12th thoughts, but we're finally talking about them on the podcast of Super Mario Party Jamboree, which was released for the Nintendo Switch on October 17th, which wound up being a very impactful news day for the Donkey Kong universe, given that Epic Universe was announced as opening on May 22nd next year, with the Donkey Kong Country wing of Super Nintendo World ready to go as the gates unlock. And then, of course, Banjo-Tooie was also revealed to be coming to NSO later that day. So we're doing this episode a little...
That's NSO plus expansion pack.
Plus expansion pack, I know. Well, I figure our audience is savvy, and I don't need to always add that. I feel like...
Because I don't have the plus expansion packs.
You don't have the plus expansion pack, David.
I don't know. I don't know. Just don't even have time to play new games these days.
I understand that, although thank you for playing Super Mario Party Jamboree.
Well, I did get an N64 controller because it works with Super Mario 3D All-Stars.
Yeah, I guess that's... I mean, at least you have that. At least you're halfway there to enjoying Banjo-Tooie on NSO plus expansion pack, but...
And then if the servers get destroyed, I can still play Mario 3D All-Stars.
Well, luckily, I don't think the servers are going to be destroyed anytime soon. I think it's going to be part of the Switch 2 infrastructure. But all that being said, we are doing this episode later than I would have liked because of the crushing weight of all of that news. And of course, 2E on NSO took priority. NSO plus expansion pack, excuse me, David. That took priority. And we also had to address Craig Duncan getting promoted as head of Xbox Game Studios. So I was like, okay, we'll kick the can down the road a little bit, because I also want to give the people on staff who would potentially be on an episode with me enough time to play Super Mario Party Jamboree.
And then, of course, there's the 27th anniversary of Donkey Kong Land 3.
Yes, we really dropped the ball on that one. We did not commemorate that monumental anniversary. But yeah, I wanted to give everyone a chance to really absorb the game as best as they can for a first impressions episode, namely myself. Because what usually happens is I'm so busy.
I don't hate Banjo-Tooie. Sorry, Freezer in the chat saying I hate Banjo-Tooie.
Okay, Freezer.
Like I prefer the first one, but I still like the second one.
You can give it another shot, just like Josh from the Geek Critique is doing right now, to be on a future episode of the Kongversation with me about it. But I'm always so busy running DK Vine and doing all the little news posts and video editing for videos people don't watch and podcast and social media that I also do t-shirt design. I don't know. I don't have time to play damned video games, which is really a shame considering our website is built on the back of damned video games. So whenever you have to do one of these first impressions episodes, and it's usually about one of these Mario games in which Donkey Kong is sauntering in, I'm just like, I've got to do it for the podcast. But then stuff inevitably gets in my way. So fortunately, I did buy myself enough time to play Jamboree for several hours, and I feel like I can walk away now with some concrete first impressions, at least to the point where I can accurately say whether I like the game or not. I haven't experienced everything in the game. I haven't 100% completed it. I haven't even tried out all of the modes, but I think I've played it enough to really get a good idea of how much the game is going to continue to appeal to me. And I hope you did the same, David.
Oh, I actually played through, like, I think all the modes.
Oh, okay. Well,
most of them anyway.
Mr. I don't have time for video games showing me up yet again. But yeah, on this episode, we will compare notes and we will give our DK Vine stamp of approval, or we'll throw it in the no hopers bin. I was trying to think what would be on brand for Super Mario Party Jamboree. But before we get to that, I mentioned nobody watching our videos. DK Vine's new video, a new installment of the DKU Lore Tour series, went up last Monday. We had a nice premiere for it. It's all about when is Donkey Kong's birthday. Not when his anniversary is. Not when the anniversary of Donkey Kong Country is. When his in-universe date of birth is. Because believe it or not...
You should watch that video today, just in case it turns out to be today.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to spoil when his birthday is, but it's not as relevant as it was when it went up. Let me just tell you a little clue there. But no, I was happy with this one. I was like, wow, this is some solid work. This is a nice, tight 18 minutes of entertainment, if I do say so myself. And the YouTube algorithm killed it. Just absolutely smothered it underneath a pillow. It's gotten less views than any other entry in this series. And, of course, when you're really proud of something and you can't wait to show it off to your viewers, your listeners, your readers, and you're like, ooh, here's something I made. I'm very happy with this one. And nobody watches it. It really makes you feel a little bit deflated. And I think anybody who's a creator, no matter what, if it just really like flops out of the gate. I know how Todd Phillips feels now with that Joker sequel. Ouchie right in the heart. I'm glad I didn't make it a musical, although there are 2 songs in it. But no. But yeah, if you want to watch it, don't let YouTube's recommendations stop you. I'm going to provide the link if you're listening to this episode of The Kongversation on YouTube. The link's coming down right now. Bloop. There it is. Just drop down. Say hello. Say hello to the link. Please click it. Actually, you know what? Stop listening to this episode. Click it right now. You can always come back to this one.
This has been a File 2 production.
No. This episode will be here for when you come back because YouTube's algorithm prioritizes conversation episodes over things like DKU Lore Tour now, apparently. So I'm happy with this one. I think if you're a Donkey Kong fan, if you're a fan of the DKU, you might get a kick out of it. Maybe. I don't know. Because you go through the thing is, is it me? Am I just the shitty one here? Did I create just a huge flaming turd? And people are, they just know. Word of mouth spreads. Don't watch that. That guy sucks. And so you go through a few days where you're feeling down and you beat yourself up and you do a little woo boo hoo hoo, little weepy time. But I'm going to pick myself off the floor. I'm going to say, you know what, YouTube, you are not going to dictate my mood. And, the video's there if you want to watch it. Again, I'm proud of it. No regrets. No shame. Thank you.
Put that video, just edit that into this one on YouTube so that people have to watch it.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. I could do that, but I'm pretty sure YouTube's algorithm would figure that out and then punish all future episodes of The Kongversation. I don't know what the rules are, and it really, really makes me nervous now. But, upwards and onwards, I won't let, my failures or the good people at Google dictating my failures hold me down. So, yeah. Beyond that, though, in brighter news, in bluer skies, DK Vine is on the rapidly growing Blue Sky social media network. We've actually been there since mid-2023, but, I'm not some hipster looking like, oh, I was there before it was cool. But we were there before it was cool. We set up a nice foundation. If you want to experience an algorithm-free social media platform without all the Nazis or what have you, check out Blue Sky. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I find that I can get on Blue Sky and not have it be a detriment to my mental health. So that's been nice. That's been refreshing. David, you're on Blue Sky.
Yes.
Freezer, you're on Blue Sky.
I don't tweet much, but I'm there, I guess.
Porygon Q is with us in a live stream. Porygon Q's on Blue Sky. I follow them. Yeah. Blue Sky is epic, says Porygon Q. Freezer is recommending that I call the next lore video Family Guy Funny Moments. I would do that, but if anything gets worse views on the YouTube channel than my own videos, it's the Idaho Crew VODs. So I don't think Family Guy is my ticket to salvation here.
Maybe call the video Has Donkey Kong Gone Woke?
Yeah, I could do that if I wanted to, eschew all of my values and morals.
Maybe throw in a few anti-Semitic conspiracy theories,
Yeah. I just got done saying I'm not really on Twitter much anymore, David.
Ah, right.
So.
I don't want to give Elon Musk $8 to steal the election.
Oh, it's good times, though. Good times. Yeah, and I'll tell you why it's good times. Because we're joined by Porygon Q and Freezer in our live stream. We do live stream these episodes for our $5 and up patrons. Cheaper than Twitter Premium or whatever it's called nowadays. Triple X, I don't know. But it's cheaper than that. And you can listen to this joy live as we record it and yell at us when we're having technical difficulties like we did at the beginning of this episode. Thank you for sorting this out, Freezer. But Porygon Q says the Idaho VODs are sweet and everyone should watch them. I wasn't trying to cast aspersions on the good Idaho Crew, who again are just a commune of DK Vine staffers living in the state of Idaho and not a militia. I want to make that perfectly clear. Once again, there's been some confusion there. But no, it's good fun. It's a different tenor of humor and entertainment that comes from me, old Hyle Russell. So if you do get sick of me, and you probably do, and you want something a little bit more, I don't know, a little bit more probably mainstream than my ramblings, check out the Idaho Crew. They also stream every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific. I never say what time zone it is in Idaho time, just to spite them. It would be 6 p.m. in Idaho when they stream. But they stream every Tuesday on our Twitch channel. DKU or DKU adjacent games is the rule. They've stretched it pretty thin at times, but I allow it because I'm a fun time boss. And Freezer warns you, David, that they are recruiting. Cam was recruited, and you are next.
Okay, hey, I don't live anywhere near Idaho. I live like 2 time zones away in New Jersey.
Neither did Cameron. Cameron lived between us in Maryland. Anyway, they're all, they get them one by one. It is like a cult, and that's why I have to clarify it's not a militia. It is not a David Koresh type situation here. They're just a bunch of like-minded weirdos who are gradually all living in the same space in a Western state. It's not anything unethical. Anyway, Super Mario Party Jamboree.
Oh yeah, that's a game that exists.
Yeah, talking about ethics here. I don't know what that means. Super Mario Party Jamboree is the third Mario Party game on the Nintendo Switch, which might seem like overkill since we haven't had a new standalone Donkey Kong game.
13th console Mario Party.
Is it? I lost count when they stopped numbering them. Didn't seem to matter anymore. Super Mario Party Jamboree, the third Mario Party game on the Switch. We still we've never had a new standalone Donkey Kong game on the Switch, and we never will at this point. But we got 3 Mario Party games, and that seems to be what the people want most of all. I was surprised at the buzz this game got, because I'm still in the mindset that, oh, it's Mario Party. I don't really care all that much. But this one, I heard people talking about it in spaces I wouldn't expect people talking about it. I was like, oh, we should play the new Mario Party game. It's out right now. And I'm just like, oh, I guess Mario Party is far more mainstream than my weirdo center of like interest lie. I think that Mario Party.
I thought we were all playing Grab by the Ghoulies.
Yeah, I know it's October, right? That's what I'm saying. But I guess I am the outsider. I guess I am the freak. I am old Hyle living up on the hill, and the children just whisper about me as they walk past. But this is a proper sequel in name to the first one on the Switch, Super Mario Party, but in actuality, it's more of a continuation of Mario Party Superstars, which sort of felt like a greatest hits of the series in the vein of Mario Party The Top 100, of course. And just recapping really quick. Super Mario Party, that game, that game grew very thin on me.
Yeah, that was when you had to have the single Joy-Con and you had to waggle everything.
Yeah, that's why it grew thin on me. After we did the conversation, after we talked about it, the inability to play it in handheld mode was the death knell of that game for me, because I am somebody who plays most of my Switch games, most of my Switch experiences in handheld mode. I prefer it. You know, I can multitask in handheld mode, and it's just a lot cozier for me. So when it says I have to be in front of the TV to waggle myself, I'm probably not going to pick that up much, which is a shame, because that's the game that had playable Diddy Kong. And that would be the one I would want to play the most, but they made it just unappealing and kind of gross. So then Mario Party Superstars came out, and that felt like more of a return to form. But it was, it was a retread in a lot of ways. It played like a greatest hit experience. And I thought at the time, this is a lot closer to what I've always looked for in a Mario Party. But my favorite character has been taken from me, so I'm going to hold some resentment. I'm going to be a little bit bitter.
But you can play in handheld mode and with the Pro Controller, so...
Yeah, I could do a lot of things, yeah. So, it just...
even 2 Joy-Cons.
Yeah, maybe if I wanted. But I think it was just kind of like, the perfect Mario Party game lies somewhere between those two, but it was ripped in half. So, Jamboree, of course, right out of the gate, we need to address this again. Jamboree does not solve the Diddy issue. Diddy Kong does not appear in the game, save for a non-physical cameo reference in a single minigame. He makes no actual appearance. He doesn't show up in the background and wave or do anything like he sometimes does when he's not playable in these games. He's just not there, aside from one nod to him. But
although,
yeah,
other characters that have appeared in previous Mario Party games, but not this one: Dry Bones, Hammer Brothers, Comic, Pom Pom, and also you.
Yeah.
Koopa Kid was apparently playable in one of these.
Yeah.
But not this one. So that's the level of, that's what we're dealing with here.
Right. But
although Diddy Kong does get more of an appearance in this one than Koopa Kid, who was vanished off the face of the earth.
Koopa Kid has been excised because of the standardization of the Mario cast, and they viewed Koopa Kid, which was originally Hudson Soft's creation for the Mario Party series, and who predates Bowser Jr.
A Wikipedia footnote note says named Mini Bowser in the PAL version of the games.
So, yeah, he's like he changed his name a couple times, but yeah, they excised him after they standardized the Mario cast. Like, why are you using this character when we have this almost identical character over here? Get rid of that character.
Fraser says it was it's because he was arrested for January 6th insurrection, but I don't think that's true. I know there were a lot of people with red hats, but I think the red hat with the Nintendo logo is still good.
I was thinking about the one with the horns, actually, for Koopa Kid. But yeah, so I guess it could be worse, right? But despite not having Diddy, I have to say, because Dave, you know my highs and lows with the Mario Party series.
I have similar highs and lows myself.
Yeah, well, I think I've broken down exactly what it is. And I think Jamboree has kind of helped me articulate it in a way I haven't actually been able to do in the past. Because I was a big fan of the original Mario Party when it first came out in the West in early 1999. I actually thought very highly of it. Although, granted, putting myself back into perspective of the time, it was only the second, what we refer to as cameo games, to have the modern Donkey Kong Country style Donkey Kong in it. You know, Mario Kart 64 had come out 2 years before, and then we had Mario Party. So any game with that version of Donkey Kong in it was still very much a novelty. It was a tasty little treat. It was like, ooh, I get dessert tonight. Oh. And we didn't view it as an annoyance. It was like, oh my God.
Donkey Kong Land 3 and Mario Kart 64? Two Donkey Kong adventures and one... Did they came out the same... No, they didn't. I don't know whenever the hell it came out.
Donkey Kong Land 3 came out after Mario Kart 64. And it came out...
I'm not celebrating the 27th anniversary of Mario Kart 64.
No, it's
actually, it might. I don't know. It's coming eventually.
It's almost the 28th anniversary if you count the Japanese release of Mario Kart 64. But yeah, it wasn't an annoying thing. And as the notion of these Donkey Kong being featured as a character in these Mario games, cameo games, as that notion continued to grow throughout the rest of 1999, and then 2000, and then 2001, I think very rapidly I began to get burned out by it. And that really isn't fair to these individual games being judged on the merits of these other games existing.
Thing is, in the same time, we all got like one Mario Golf, one Mario Tennis. It's a nice, fresh, new experience. But Mario Party, it's like you got 3 of these. Yeah,
Mario Party came out annually, while the other games came out just basically one per system, if that. And I was still excited about Mario Party 2 in early 2000. Like, we're getting another Mario Party already? Great, I love the first one. And it came out, and I still enjoyed it. I think by the end of it, though, I was feeling fatigue. And so by the time of Mario Party 3, which had also come out after we gotten a slew of more rare games on the N64, like Banjo-Tooie and Conker's Bad Fur Day, which I think might have elevated the system in my mind and even what I expect from games. Like, we went from Conker's Bad Fur Day to Mario Party 3 in the chronology. So I think Mario Party 3 was my breaking point because they started to feel cheap. They started to feel hollow to me.
It probably doesn't help that the N64 was pretty much dead. So it still had those demo stations where the control sticks are loose and buttons don't really work. And Mario Party 3 was the game that they had.
Yeah.
Demoing.
Mario Party 3 came out at the tail end of the N64's lifespan. And it came out after Conker, which was just, despite the arguments of how well that's aged, it was an amazing technical feat on the N64. And then you go to Mario Party 3, which again, isn't fair to Mario Party 3, comparing it to Conker's Bad Fur Day, because the only people on the face of this planet who would compare Mario Party 3 to Conker's Bad Fur Day are the freaks and weirdos and deviants at DK Vine, because we're looking at the DKU chronology, and we're like, well, Donkey Kong appeared in Mario Party 3 after Conker had the worst day of his life. But I mean, I can't help it. That's just the way it was exposed. It was introduced to me. And Mario Party 3 also came out right around the time of E3 2001 when I was looking forward to Donkey Kong Racing and, Star Fox Adventures. And so it just really felt like all of a sudden these cameo games were obstacles to overcome to get to the good parts of the DKU. And I still liked Mario Party 3 well enough. Like, I didn't hate it, but I think it was my mental breaking point. And it's when I personally turned on the notion of Mario Party. Had they just been one per console, I don't think I would have hit that point. I don't think Mario Party would have become the epitome of cameo game oversaturation. But because of the way they structured the sequels, because of the way they leaned in on it being an easy moneymaker, with a lot of appeal. I mean, obviously the Mario Party series is popular or else they wouldn't keep making them. And everybody has a different Mario Party game that's their favorite. And I'm just unfortunate enough that my favorite Mario Party game was the first one. So, thinking about why it was the first one. And I don't think it was just because it was first and fresh and new. I mean, that's obviously part of it.
It's because you liked rotating the control stick.
I loved getting scarred because as this very pampered, privileged, white cisgendered straight male in America, who's never been to war, never faced any true hardship in my life, I can say, yeah, look at this. That was 1999.
Want to know how I got these scars?
yeah, tug of war. And then I jam a pencil in your eyeball. But
and pull a knife on Senator Patrick Leahy.
A little Dark Knight trivia for you there. That was a sitting U.S. senator that the Joker almost slit the throat of. So.
Fourth in line for the presidency at one point.
Yeah, I know. That's why they have the line of secession. It's when you have super criminals from Gotham City barging into billionaire parties in their penthouse. The first Mario Party, beyond just being first, I think it appealed to me and my sensibilities in a way that very few Mario Parties did after the fact. Because it had a real sense of place. It had world building with Mushroom Village as that central hub and all the various shops and all the unique original characters you could visit and the way it envisioned all of the title's mini games, like in Minigame Island, which kind of gave you this almost like 2D platformer structured like map screen progression. Like I'm beating each minigame one by one on this map screen. I'm discovering stuff. I'm exploring this world.
Proper single player mode.
Yeah. Yeah. And
rather than just a story mode that was just party mode with AI bots.
Yes. Yeah. It was varied. It had a lot for the single player experience, and it had that kind of craft in a video game that I adore, that Greg Malesian philosophy. And I'm not saying the first Mario Party was Greg Malesian in its design, but it was probably the closest to that. That kind of rare or now Platonic style game that really tricks the brain into completely buying into the reality that you are experiencing. The reality of what Donkey Kong is experiencing as a character. And I think it elevated it in my mind as something more, something that I could really invest my mental energies in. I could potentially do a video on YouTube on 25 years later that nobody would watch because of the algorithm. It elevates something as silly and frothy and lightweight as Mario Party into something that I personally will kind of cherish a little bit forever. And I understand, David. Like, I understand my own wants and desires are mine alone. I'm the freak up on the hill that the kids run from at this point. Some of our listeners will agree with me, sure. Most will probably not, because I understand the Mario Party series is multi-generational at this point. Everybody has gotten into the series with a different entry in the franchise, and it hasn't evolved the same way that first game was. And so what people look for when they first discover Mario Party, something else might appeal to them. And then that's the magic of Mario Party to them. Like, Greg Mayles makes the kind of games that Hyle Russell likes, and therefore the, editorial kind of voice of DK Vine likes. But Mario Party has had widespread success as it walked away from that style. The presentation of the original Mario Party eventually gave way to something a lot more streamlined. Mario Party 2 still really, I think, mirrored the presentation of Mario Party 1 quite a bit, but it did root the setting in the theme park artifice of Mario Land.
You still had like the mini game thing. You instead of just unlocking mini games, you bought them from Woody and the 2 versus 2 minigame tree.
1 versus 3 minigame tree, our personal favorite. Yes, I agree.
I'm for 2 versus 2 minigame tree. Yep, that's the name of that one.
Yeah, the minigame coaster. I mean, that stuff was fun, but I'm just saying, that's when it started moving away from, this is a real location in the Mushroom Kingdom or an adjacent, land that you are visiting. This is just a theme park that Mario and his friends constructed in the sky. And so it was a real place, but it also had that kind of veneer of unreality. And then that kind of escalated in subsequent Mario Party games. Mario Party 3 put everything within a toy chest engineered by the Millennium Star. So nothing was real in that game except the toy chest you were in and the characters themselves. Mario Party 4 was a holodeck type environment within the Party Cube. And Mario Party 5 was in a dream realm called the Dream Depot. And by the time the series returned to a physical, tangible location again, Mario Party 6, I think they stripped it down to basic menus, and the one-player modes were really just, as you said, the regular multiplayer modes with bots. There wasn't really much in the way of versatility. They were focusing on the party aspect of it, and they were throwing in one-player modes as lip service. But my personal feeling of being invested in each one lessened with each experience. And of course, that was only exasperated by Donkey Kong being retired as a playable character, starting with Mario Party 5. He eventually made his way back, but it was a long stretch of time where Donkey Kong was just an NPC on the board. And I did like that he was the counterpart of Bowser, it was framing him purely in a heroic light, but when I'm only playing Mario Party for Donkey Kong, and then they reduce the Donkey Kong elements to the barest minimum possible, then I'm really gonna turn on the series, which I did. So it was kind of a death by 1,000 cuts for me, but maybe it was just really 5 or 6 or 7 really hearty slashes against my body for me to just kind of be Mario Party, the magic is gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'd actually fallen off the series for the whole GameCube era.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if you're not going to make Donkey Kong playable, then what's the point? Then?
And again, I want to reiterate, there are people whose favorite Mario Party games are Mario Party 5, Mario Party 6, Mario Party 7. It's not an objective truth that I'm speaking here. This is my subjective reality, my own opinion of the matter. And I do recognize, I can sit here and say, yes, I recognize fundamentally Mario Party 3 is a way better game than the first Mario Party. Mario Party 5 is better than Mario Party 4, but it wasn't a better game for me. and for what made me think the Mario Party series was kind of neat and appealing at the first place. And that might have just been this very brief illusionary thing, a mirage. And then it disappeared and I was just stuck in a desert that I'd wandered into. And I was like, where's that oasis? I was thirsty for more. Oh, it wasn't real. That's a shame. And yeah, of course, then, like, all the real big changes aligned with the buyout era, and it was just this whole thing with me. And I viewed Mario Party as the biggest indictment against the Nintendo philosophy versus the Rare philosophy. And that's all a bunch of nonsense, considering they weren't even technically made by Nintendo. You know what I mean, though. Like, but I will say, though, that I think the last one, Mario Party Superstars, struck a far better balance than I was accustomed to. And I did like things like returning to Mushroom Village and having some of that flavor added back. Some of it was marred because I didn't like that they replaced the characters in the original Mushroom Villagers with your stock Mario NPCs. And I think that one-to-one comparison with me being the old-timer from 1999 saying, oh, I don't like that change. Oh, so it didn't land with me as much as it did with others. But it was still a return to form. It just was lacking a little bit. And, of course, I was still mad about Diddy. But with Jamboree, they have uprooted the action and gone to a completely new location. This kind of like archipelago in the sea. Not the Rare archipelago, just an archipelago somewhere in Mushroom World. And they've added a lot of new features in this one that I think it gives more playability to a single player like me who just likes to absorb the game world like a sponge, who just likes to exist in the game world. And they've also added more versatility to the regular Mario Party mode as well. And I've played it now for a few hours. Didn't have really much in the way of expectation going into it. David, I think they've done it. I think they've made my Grinch shriveled heart grow a couple of sizes, because I think they finally crafted a Mario Party experience that meets my expectations in a way that they haven't been met since the original Mario Party. I think this might be my favorite Mario Party since the first one, and honestly, I'll have to play it a little bit more. It could maybe wind up being my favorite.
Obviously, like, nostalgia means that the games that were out when we were teenagers are objectively the best ones, but honestly, this one's pretty good too.
Yeah, like, I try not to let nostalgia cloud me too much. Obviously it will. Obviously, Donkey Kong Country 2 will never be dethroned as my favorite game of all time, because it's such a good game. It has so much of the stuff I love. And it hit me right at a very impressionable time in my life, where it's just wrapped up in a lot of warm feelings. And I can recognize that maybe they will make a 2D platformer that is fundamentally better. Maybe they already have. There's no way I will ever be able to view it in that light. I try not to let nostalgia dictate too much in my brain, though. And I'm going to have to give this more time. I'm going to have to sit with this a little bit more. But the fact that I want to play it more, I can't think of the first time I've wanted to play a Mario Party game more, where I had to put the game down to prepare for the podcast, and I was a little disappointed. Because normally Mario Party is homework for me. It is something I have to get through. This is the first one that I've been having fun with, legitimate fun with. And not even in just the Mario Party mode. So do you want to know what my favorite mode is, David?
Well, according to the show notes here, it's the Party Planner Trek mode, which is like the main story mode.
Yeah, I mean, you could read the show notes if you didn't want to actually play a guessing game. That's fine. By the way, Me Muppet has joined us in the chat. Hello, Me Muppet. Me Muppet says Jamboree is probably the best. Hard to believe. Yeah, it is hard to believe. That's what I'm saying. Because when I learned Diddy wasn't going to be in it, I was like, well, I guess it's good that Pauline's in it, and it looks good, I guess, but I don't know. And then I played the game, and I explored the party plaza. You're kind of like hub before the hub. And by the way, all of the hubs, all of the maps in the game, it's all done from the perspective of the character you choose. Like those early Mario Party games, they were all done from that stuff was a first person perspective. So it wouldn't really assign which character you were until you got into the actual modes themselves. But here you pick your character at the outset, and then you have that character walking around the plaza or going up.
Yeah, Super Mario Party did that too.
Yeah. I know it's not an advent of this game. It's not something that this game came up with. But I'm just saying I appreciate it because they've taken that to a formula that almost mirrors that original Mario Party formula, where you have a lot more space to explore because you are in the party plaza, and then you can go up into the hot air balloon and float over the archipelago to go to which island you want to visit, which contain different game modes. And you can stay in the party plaza. You don't have to go up in the balloon. And you can talk to Kamek, who for some reason, the skeevy little child abductor, the baby snatcher Kamek, is the party host of this Mario Party, which, I don't know, seems problematic to me. I'm like, weren't you the one who abducted half this cast when they were babies? Whatever. Okay, bygones be bygones.
And also, for some reason, a random toady becomes imposter Bowser so that you could have Bowser spaces but still have playable Bowser.
Yeah, there's a bit of
decision.
There's a bit of creative wrangling going on with how you can have duplicates of characters, which we'll get into.
We'll get into that later.
Yeah, I feel like Kamek was made the party host just for that justification, which I appreciate, but it's still weird that Kamek, who might be the second most prominent villain in the Mario series at this point. It's debatable. I think maybe the movie raised the stock a little bit, but yeah, it's a little bit weird that you're like, okay, Kamek, you throw a Mario Party, but I'll be damned. Kamek can throw a sweet Mario Party because my favorite mode, oh my god, it's Party Planner Trek. This is the single player mode I've always wanted in Mario Party, and yet I never thought of. I never thought this could be a thing. I never conceived this. This is a single player mode that kind of acts like a prequel to the boards themselves, because you take your character, in my case Donkey Kong, and you go to the boards while they are setting up the boards for regular Mario Party gameplay.
And then you run around the boards, and it's kind of like a 3D platformer where you run around helping NPCs and getting stars and stuff.
It's a very limited 3D platform. It's a 3D platformer.
I mean, you're still confined to the spaces, and
you are confined to the spaces, but you have you have freedom of movement around the board. Yeah, you're not rolling a dice. You're just going to space, talking to NPCs, trying to solve their conundrums. And you are you're helping them out with their problems because they're trying to set up these boards for the Mario Party. And they're like, oh, boo hoo 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 hoo. I need a hammer. I need a screw. Oh, I'm thirsty. Oh, please rock me to sleep because I need a little nap. Oh, Donkey Kong, I'm tired. And you've got to barter items, trade it back and forth. And sometimes you walk into these situations that are occasionally inspired and creative, and sometimes far-fetched, but they're an excuse to initiate a mini game. And I thought this was really fun because it reminded me. I was like, what does this remind me of? I feel a little uncomfortable with some of these setups because they're very contrived sometimes. It's like, oh, something's happening. I guess we better play this mini game. It reminds me of a porn video's plot, David. Just the thinnest excuse to start fucking. But in this case, playing Mario Party mini games.
Even thinner than the Mario Party 6 and 7 microphone. The first board you play is Goomba Lagoon, which, by the way, is my favorite board. So it was just a great introduction to this mode in general. But you talk to, I think, a Koopa Troopa, and he's like, "Oh, I'm so scared. The volcano's gonna go off." Or he's like, "Oh, do you think a boulder's gonna chase us? We better practice." And you go into the mini game where you run from boulders. And I like it's almost like a level of piss take that's beyond Nintendo, beyond this like kind of Nintendo game, and I can't tell if it's intentional, if it's just the translator is having fun with it, or if it's just baked into the DNA itself. But I loved it. I was like, because they do come up with a justification for each one, and I thought that was fun. I don't know. I'm easy to please. Sometimes it's just a sign that says, "Hey, let's just play this mini game."
Sometimes there's just a sign. Yes. Sometimes it's just like, "Ooh, here's a little note. What does it say?" Oh, it says we gotta play a mini game. But I still appreciate the minimal effort all the same. And this is exactly what's been missing from a Mario Party game for 24 years now. It's world building, David. It is putting yourself in this environment where they are having these life-size board games within a Mushroom Kingdom, but you are actually seeing kind of behind the scenes. Like, you are a VIP. You're getting the backstage tour. And in some ways you're kind of a roadie because you have to go around as their little gopher and solve all of their problems and really help them set up this board so a Mario Party can indeed take place. And it gives it context as a real location with real characters who are all stressed out because they have to do this job. Like, what would it actually entail to work on a Mario Party board, to be one of these hosts or one of these characters or one of these staff members or cast members? I adore this. This is awesome. This makes me feel like the world of Super Mario Party Jamboree is a real place. And I am just that much more mentally invested in Donkey Kong running around this. Even though Diddy's not there, even though he's just by himself, I feel like I can understand Donkey Kong's motivation a little bit more and what's making him tick right now. This is the most I've mentally been engaged with a Mario Party game since that first Mario Party debut. As much as I love 1 vs. 3 minigame tree, this is so much better than that. I can hear, or rather I can sense that you don't know how to yes and this because you're surprised I'm this excited about Party Planner Trick.
I quite like this game too. Because I'm mostly a single player gamer, so I do, they put a lot into this single player mode.
Yeah.
Other than just, play the party mode with, the computer.
Look, I wish Diddy was in this. I'm still hoping he will be via DLC, but the presence of Donkey Kong in these vast Mario affairs, for me, they've traditionally been the most cumbersome when there isn't a lot of Donkey Kong content or content in there to enchant me, to delight me.
Yeah, usually just, play a soccer game as Donkey Kong. Okay, that's it.
Yeah, and that's it's fine when there's like more than one character or there are critter goalies. I mean, the best example of me being won over by the sheer glut of Donkey Kong content is probably Mario Super Sluggers. I mean, that was just loaded with DK stuff. And on the other side of the coin, the way you can pull me in to something where it just has Donkey Kong as a character is to give the world itself that Donkey Kong is visiting a personality, a life unto itself. Give Donkey Kong some agency in it. Don't just make him a character skin. Give him the chance to run around these spaces, helping people out, these mindless idiots who ask for your help. Like you equated it to a 3D platformer, David. I think that is apt. It feels very much like a Banjo-Kazooie platformer because you have to run around. It's like, I've soiled my pants. Can you find me new pants? And you gotta go find him new pants because you can't have soiled pants for the Mario Party. I love it. This is fun.
And of course you have to play the, washing pants minigame.
And it's a great excuse to play it. Let me say, I'm actually experiencing Donkey Kong interacting with the denizens of the Mushroom Kingdom rather than feeling like Donkey Kong is just being shoehorned into this because he's a recognizable character and people expect him in these. And that is, I think, the biggest thing that makes or breaks these games for me, right? And I really think that Party Planner Trick is my favorite single player mode ever on any Mario Party platform. Yeah, I think that this mode alone elevates Jamboree for me, for Hyle Russell, the creepy old man on the hill that the children whisper about, make up stories about me like I'm Kamek. It really makes Jamboree my Mario Party game at long last. And I do think Party Planner Trick is a good way to set the stage for the other action in the games to come, because you get acquainted with all the boards in a way that you're not just going blind into the boards. You know, you kind of know the general layout and what to expect. You get introduced to the mini games. You get introduced to various aspects and ways to play the game. It's a nice way to ease yourself into Jamboree as a whole, like stretching before going on a vigorous marathon or decathlon. Coupathon. We will debate that in just a bit, but I think, and I would recommend, honestly, and I know a lot of our listeners have Jamboree already, and they've already torn it into it. A lot of you have already completed it, but if you haven't played it, I would recommend starting with Party Planner Trick. Before you even play it with your friends, play it by yourself, do Party Planner Trick, and I almost guarantee that the game will be all the more special to you from that point on. Is my enthusiasm a bit much about this? Or like, am I the freak? Am I the weirdo?
I don't know. I liked Party Planner Trick a lot as well.
Meme Muppet agrees with me. Thank you, Meme Muppet. I appreciate getting backed up on this.
I think it's even better than the Minigame Island because it's like an evolution of Minigame Island, I guess. I don't know. It's been a while since I played Mario Party 1.
Well, there is Minigame Bay in this, but I feel like this is spiritually closer to Minigame Island in the first one. It's just it's less linear. And it's more creative. It's more inventive. It's more, I don't want to say it's innovative, but it's a very innovative way to play. It's a very innovative way to play Super Mario Party Jamboree. And by playing this mode, you can also get new decor for the main party plaza area. And this is just superficial. This is just a little extra flourish. But I really like this because you can decorate the shrubs of Party Plaza with Donkey Kong's necktie. So you can win this decoration item that is a stake. So it's a red stake with Donkey Kong's tie on top. And so if you decorate the party plaza with that, it's just all the shrubs have Donkey Kong's tie in them. And you're like, I claim this land for Donkey Kong Island. So even though Diddy's not in it, I can really make this space belong to Donkey Kong. And then all those other Mario partiers come back to Party Plaza and they're like, what the hell happened here? Why is Donkey Kong taking it over? It's like, well, Donkey Kong actually helped plan this party. You lazy assholes who did nothing. So that's also special for me. In my own personal continuity.
They did help with the boss mini games.
They helped with the boss mini games, but only because Donkey Kong beats them in their own mini games. And, so, I mean, they helped a little bit, but let's face it, Donkey Kong did most of the work. 95% at the very least. So, yeah. Definitely start with, Party Planner Trick because it is just a very fresh, dare I say, way to start playing a new Mario Party game. And I really hope this continues into future Mario Parties. Because let me be honest, let me be upfront with this. If there isn't a version of this mode in the next Mario Party game, the next Mario Party game will be inferior. Yep.
Or they could just make up another type of single player game.
They could.
Like us with no friends.
Well, I have friends. The only thing is I prefer a single player experience because, look, if I play this with the Idaho crew, they're just going to want to rush through the dialogue. They're not going to let me soak in the game world. So I don't really want to, like, I take my time with games. DK Vine done slow, right? So for me, it's not really about the frenzy of playing with others. It's about losing myself in the game world. That's why I've always played video games. It's not for competition. It's not for like little rivalries. It's for escapism. And finally, I have a Mario Party game that really celebrates that escapism again. That Greg Malesian philosophy. So, as much as I want Diddy in it, and I'm still a little bitter that Diddy's not in it, I'm kind of blown away that I love this game. This game that does not have Diddy in it as much as I do. But it does have Pauline and Ninji as new characters. And I thought it was going to be a whole thing. Unlocking them, right? I was like,
So did I. But then I looked it up on Game FAQs and it's like they're just go to the hot air balloon and Pauline's over there, Ninji's over there. You can do it in like 2 minutes.
I did not look it up on Game FAQs or Game Facts, if you will. I just discovered it playing the game. So I thought like, oh, Pauline and Ninja, the only unlockable characters. Well, that must be something pretty special. It must be like Waluigi and Daisy in Mario Party 3, right? You have to go through a whole thing to unlock them. You have to play through a bulk of the game. Nope.
Yeah, like Donkey Kong and what was that one?
Super Mario Party?
Super Mario Party.
Yeah, he was unlockable in that game. Another massive blight on that first Switch Mario Party. But all you do is when you go up in the hot air balloon from Party Plaza and you have your like pick of the archipelago here, you will occasionally see other stuff happening in the background betwixt these islands and isles and islets.
Get some in-game currency for saying like, oh, hey, there's a Goomba over there. And like, oh, yeah, there's King Bob doing a thing. And then, yeah, Pauline and Ninja are just there.
Yeah, it's kind of like Pokemon Snap without any nuance. And you take a little picture, and yeah, you'll see Pauline and Ninja just lounging about somewhere in the landscape, and then they'll be like, "Oh, who is that? Could that be? Is that Pauline? Yes, she's waving at us. It looks like she wants to join the party." I'm like, "Why didn't you just invite her then? What the hell? Like She's just on this desert island? What happened? What dark story is waiting to be told here? Did her plane crash?" Anyway, like, on one hand, I think it's...
Cranky Kong Carrier with a bunch of garters or something?
Yeah. On the one hand, I think it's a bit ridiculous to lock two characters behind this this task and make it so simple, so easy to do from the outside. I'm like, what is the point? Why? But on the other hand, I do appreciate it because I think it is a very quick way to make you more observant on this kind of main map area and to teach you to always be on the lookout for anomalous things that aren't always there. And so in that case, I do appreciate it because that is what made me like realize like, oh, I should always be on the lookout when I'm up in a hot air balloon. I might see something. And then there's that whole like extra thing to do is get all the pictures, which you can then view in the party plaza, which is very Saberwolf GBA. And we all love Saberwolf GBA here on the Kongversation. Friends of Saberwolf GBA. Wesley Snaps, baby. Wesley Snaps. So moving on to the actual Mario Party mode, which for me is not even the main draw anymore. It's the party planning track. But once you're done with the party planning track, once you're ready to actually have these Mario parties on these life-size boards, there is a lot more customization available this go around with Mario Party because they've introduced Pro Rules. Pro Rules, total game changer. Because it reduces the amount of sheer dumb...
Because they make changes to the game.
Literally a game changer, David. Where's the lie? Can't find it. None coming from this mouth. But of course, the biggest annoyance of Mario Party and appeal for some for Mario Party is the ghastly reversal of fortune that can happen. Where it doesn't matter how well you play. If you land on the wrong space, if you get the wrong end of the stick in chance time, if just somebody screws you over by talking to a boo, you can lose so much of your lead or all of it. And then there's little hope of getting it back. And what Pro Rules does is it eliminates much of that random chance and it turns the entire game into a more skill-based endeavor, where if you do well in the mini games, chances are you will win. Which, I think is obviously not everyone will want to play with the Pro Rules, and you don't get the full experience unless you experience that traditional Mario Party style of just getting completely hosed by dumb luck. But we do live in this era where, Mario Kart, you can choose which items you want to introduce to the race before you have the race. Smash Brothers, of course, I think pioneered that as far as these sorts of games featuring Nintendo characters. And so I'm glad they're doing that more with Mario Party now because it can make a more agreeable Mario Party experience for everyone.
And of course, if you still like the, fourth place is randomly in first place again thing, you can still play with normal rules. Yeah,
they're not taking anything away. They're just giving you more opportunities to play how you want. And look, I do enjoy most of the new boards, and I think I haven't, really delved into it as much because Party Planning Trek has really monopolized my time. But like I said, my favorite is probably Goomba Lagoon, which is the first you play in Party Planning Trek, so maybe it just set the stage in such a pleasing way. But I'm also a sucker for tropical islands and shipwrecks and volcanoes and all of that. So it's nice to have a volcano in a Mario game that isn't just a Bowser-themed environment. It's nice to have kind of the more tranquil version of a volcanic island in Mario. So that's nice. I think Roll'em Raceway's creative, Rainbow Galleria's fun, Mega Wiggler's Tree Party, all fun concepts. I like the variety within these boards, how each one does feel uniquely different, and it just doesn't feel like, oh, this is the wet one, this is the snow one, this is the space one. And yes, I mean, you would get variety even in those classic Mario Party games, but I don't know. I think that there's a lot of personality in each board this time around, with a lot of variations on your standard board game gameplay. And you mentioned the boss minigames. I also think this is a brilliant new addition to Mario Party, where you have like a boss character on each of the original boards in this game.
Well, that's from the party planning track mode.
Yes, but they are mini games, and like I like the idea. Just again, it creates this single player experience, but melds it with Mario Party style gameplay. So, like, I'm just pleased all around with that. I do think it's kind of weird that the only two returning boards are Mario Party 2's Western Land and the original Mario Party's Mario's Rainbow Castle, which I don't know, who wanted that one back? There's a theory that these are holdovers, like that this was supposed to be Superstars DLC, that it never was released. I don't know if that's accurate. I don't know if that's been debunked, but I mean, it seems likely given just how like random it is. And it's like, why only two boards? Like,
I guess, but on the other hand, like 7 boards is pretty typical for Mario Party, right?
I know, but I feel like they could have fit more in. I feel like at least one more classic board from like Mario Party 3 at least, or I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird thing that they didn't go further with it. Yeah,
it just kind of feels like a tossed off feature. Like, oh yeah, and this, and here's this. I'm like, this doesn't feel complete. And maybe it's just my like obsessive compulsive brain trying to like think, well, everything has to come in 3, right? Why is it just 2? That just feels weird. Anyway. I wouldn't mind if we actually got DLC for this game, which we'll discuss towards the end of the episode. But, yeah, I mean, I know the Idaho crew is very happy that Western Land is back. So, I'm not going to hold that against the game. And honestly, the original boards are fun enough. I don't really care about any returning boards. So, we mentioned Minigame Bay, presumably where all of the minigames take place, a la Minigame Island, or minigame coaster. I do like the minigame selection in this. So far, they seem to be mostly solid. I haven't played them all, but it's a nice blend of new and returning minigames. And like occasionally, like when I run into a returning minigame, I'm like, oh hell yeah, Shy Guy says, let's do it. I've had minimal aggravation when it comes to the minigames. I have not played any of the motion ones yet, because I've only played this in handheld mode from the comfort of my desk, and like typing up notes for the Kongversation as I play. So I've only played in handheld mode, but I love that it gives you the option to play in handheld mode, and you know you can disable the motion mini games to keep playing in handheld mode.
Yeah, and it's only like 10% or something of the mini games anyway, so
yeah, you're really not missing much. Obviously, you will want to dock your Switch at some point to experience them, but it's really like not a pressing thing for me, and the game doesn't force them upon you, which is for the best, honestly, especially for like just accessibility. Like, not everyone can play the motion mini games, so it's nice that Mario Party at least gives you the option to just exclude them entirely. Now, if I'm perfectly honest, I have not played Koopathon, or Bowser Kaboom Squad.
So the Koopathon is it's a mode with a bunch of mini games like unique to this mode. The mini games involve collecting coins, and then the more coins you collect, the faster you run around the track. You and 19 other players, and then Bowser Kaboom Squad, which is another co-op mode where you work together to shoot cannons at Bowser Imposter.
Imposter Bowser, yeah, which again it was this monstrous Bowser created by Kamek at the very beginning of the game.
Just in case anyone's playing as Bowser.
Just in case anybody wants to play as Bowser. It's nice that it gives you the option to play as Bowser. So we had this debate before we started recording, if it was Koopathon or Koopathlon. And it is Koopathlon.
Yes, that is now over there. Yes.
Okay. Because my brain was reading it as Koopathon because I thought marathon. Right? But Koopathlon is a superior pun. Gotta hand it to them. They outthought me. And then there's Paratroopa Flight School, Toad's Item Factory, and Rhythm Kitchen.
So the Paratroopa's Flight School is where you grab 2 Joy-Cons and you have to like flap your arms to like your wings, and it's very tiring.
Yeah.
And Toad's Item Factory, where you move platforms around to roll a ball into the exit and then make an item, I guess.
Right.
Rhythm Kitchen was a lot of fun. It's one where you go through a few mini games where you have to waggle, but set to the music.
You know, had I played it yet, I would say I just got back from playing Paratroopa Flight School, and boy, are my arms tired. That's what I would have said if I played it. But I haven't played it yet.
Paratroopa mode has this mode where you have to like it's called Paratroopa Taxi mode, where you have to take like a bunch of like Toads and Koopas and stuff to various locations, but it's really hard to like navigate because you gotta like lean your arms this way to turn, and then eventually like you have to carry Bowser over, but he's so heavy that you're just gonna sink anyway. So
it's really like Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, is what you're saying. It's like those taxiing missions.
Oh yeah, that actually makes more sense. I was thinking Crazy Taxi.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was also thinking of Ukulele Capital Casino with the Knights of Camelot, taking them in the copter. Of course, I was thinking that. I don't know what Crazy Taxi is, but enough about all that nonsense. Your Koopathlons and your Toad's Item Factories. Let's talk about the Donkey Kong factor. Let's talk about the Donkey Kong of it all. David, let's talk about...
All right. Oh, yeah, that's why we're talking about this on a Donkey Kong podcast?
That is why we're talking about it.
Oh, it's another point against Paratroopa Flight School is you can't even play as Donkey Kong. You have to play as Mario.
Yeah. I hate it. But this is DK Vine's The Kongversation, so let's talk about all the Donkey Kong bits beyond just Donkey Kong's in this game. So, we've mentioned the imposter Bowser a few times, and every character in the game that has their own showdown minigame has a shadow version of themselves created by Kamek to host the showdown minigame when that character is part of the action. When it is an active participant, then you have this shadow version.
I don't think they show up at all in the party mode, but in the party planner track mode, they appear in the same place they would appear if you're playing as somebody else.
Well, yeah, so they're always there in the showdown mini game. So for Donkey Kong, it's kind of like this bluish version, like nightmare version of Donkey Kong.
Grayscale version. Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody on social media likened it to the glitched version of Donkey Kong from Donkey Kong Country that Donkey Kong has sex with when he's riding Rambi.
Yeah, my first thought was Super Kong from off of Donkey Kong Country Returns.
Yeah, so I think the Idaho crew experienced this when they played the game this past Tuesday, and they messaged me in a private chat, and they're like, "Hey, Hyle, we have a new Kong. We have to come up with a name for this new Kong." And then I got back to them like, "What are you talking about?" Because it's established in the game that Kamek created this doppelganger Kong.
Yes, it's like, "Oh, Donkey Kong, I know you were going to spend some time here, but you're busy making the rounds. So it looks like Kamek has prepared a look-alike Donkey Kong to take your place."
Did Donkey Kong give his consent to have a clone of himself create? Whatever.
And it has the exact same dialogue as the real Donkey Kong, because I have played that one World of Party Planner Trek as Daisy, so that I could see what the real Donkey Kong has to
Judas.
It's exactly the same.
Yeah.
How else am I going to see Donkey Kong as a Jamboree buddy in the party mode?
You can just play as Donkey Kong because you have the Shadow Donkey Kong there.
Yeah, and you even have to unlock the stakes and everything. The stake of Donkey Kong's tie.
Yeah. So I think that obviously there must be some sort of like fine print when Donkey Kong signs a contract to appear in a Mario Party. Like, you may have a magic doppelganger of yourself created. You have to be cool with that if you're going to participate. Now, I do consider this a separate character. It's kind of like a giant Donkey Kong situation, giant Donkey Kong from the Smash Brothers series, where we consider it a separate character, an independent, magical clone of Donkey Kong.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And unlike, when, two people are playing as Donkey Kong and, whatever, they actually thought this through and gave an actual explanation for this.
And I always appreciate an actual explanation for this. Now, we're going to have a philosophical debate about it for sure, because the question is, this version of Donkey Kong, this separate version of Donkey Kong, he's obviously probably the same as Donkey Kong up until the point that Kamek creates him. But does he have all of Donkey Kong's memories then? Like, does he actually feel in his heart and in his soul that he is Donkey Kong? Because does Kamek just put him back in his box? Does he just blink him out of existence when he's no longer needed? Or is he just out in the wild now living his life? Because if he is, in fact, just living his life out in the wild, this is Donkey Kong, effectively, but there's already a Donkey Kong. This is a clone of Donkey Kong.
It's like an episode of Star Trek Next Generation where Riker was duplicated by a transporter accident, and then the other Riker was just running around. Shows up in another episode of Deep Space Nine.
Well, I was thinking of the Spider-Man clone saga from the 1990s.
Yeah, that's another one.
Yeah, where Spider-Man's clone shows back up and he starts going by the name Ben Reilly, even though he's effectively Peter Parker up until the point of creation, that point of divergence. But, yeah, what do we do with this guy? With the giant Donkey Kong, I just assumed he was kept in, subspace by Master Hand and, only really participated in, Smash events and knew, well, I'm not really Donkey Kong. I'm giant Donkey Kong and I fight Donkey Kong. But this guy, he acts just like Donkey Kong. He behaves, he talks like Donkey Kong. And I'm thinking, he can't just go back to Donkey Kong Island, even though that's what he would logically want to do, because his friends, his family, his loved ones, they're not going to accept him. There already is a Donkey Kong in their lives. So would he then go to Kamek and say, I demand you make look-alike versions of Diddy, of Candy, of Dixie, of Funky, of Swanky and Cranky? Why don't you make Wrinkly, but make her alive again? Bring my mom back to me. Where does it end? And will he have a whole shadow version of Donkey Kong Island?
I'm assuming we're not going to see this Donkey Kong ever again, so maybe Kamek just kills him. It's I don't need you anymore.
I want an entire spin-off about this Donkey Kong and the journey ahead of him, finding his own place in the world. Is it back on Donkey Kong Island in the Rare Archipelago? Is it in the Mushroom Kingdom? Where does this Donkey Kong hang his tie up at the end of the day? There is a story to be told here. And damn it, I love that this game introduces the thought in my head. This is a future DKU lore tour video that even less people will watch. Wink. So
does that Donkey Kong have the same birthday?
Well, no, because his birthday is obviously October 17th. Just a few days before. Spoilers. So, Donkey Kong's look-alike will host his Showdown minigame. If you are already playing as Donkey Kong, which of course I am. And that minigame is DK's Konga line. Konga with a K, because this is an explicit homage to the Donkey Konga series. We've done it, everyone. We've gotten Donkey Konga 4, and it's within Super Mario Party Jamboree. It's basically Donkey Konga without the shitty covers, and it's Donkey Konga without the pan. There's no clapping. You're just pressing.
Clapping. No ditties, no Hoobastank covers.
No REM, no Good Charlotte, no Willie Nelson. It's just pressing the left and right shoulder buttons. And, the way it's configured, because it seems very familiar when if you are a Donkey Konga veteran, if you've tried to beat Gorilla Duet mode in Donkey Konga 2, you're going to be picking this up and be like, I know exactly what to do. But it's
Now, I, on the other hand, have not played Donkey Konga in like 20 years, so...
That's why you only bear the physical scars of Mario Party 1. You don't have the mental and spiritual scars of Donkey Konga 2. But, like, I started playing this, and I was like, I don't need to practice. I know what I'm doing. It's Donkey Konga, and I'm Hyle from off of DK Vine. Come on. But it's configured just enough that it took me about halfway through the minigame to actually figure out what I was doing and what I was doing wrong. Because I'm used to Donkey Konga's format and the visual readout of Donkey Konga. I mean, Dustin and I just did a 3-hour podcast about it the other week. And because Donkey Kong, out of the 4 characters participating, he was positioned on the outermost left. The way that the input instructions were coming down at him, it looked like it was all for the left drum. And I'm like, why am I getting all this input for the left drum? Why am I not using the right drum? But why is it saying I have to press R? Isn't that for the right drum? Then I eventually figured it's just all in one track. There is no 2 tracks for Donkey Kong. For any of the characters. And so I was just reading it wrong. So I was behind. I was in 4th place about halfway through. I realized what I was doing wrong, and I came from behind, and I beat it my first go with about 67 points. And Luigi was 2nd place with 59 points. So I came from behind. Monty Mole had 55 points. Daisy had 54 points. But I came from behind.
Much like the Mario Party 6 and 7 microphone.
And I beat DK's Konga line on my first go using my innate Donkey Konga muscle memory. Just reapplied.
The computer seems to suck at this one in particular.
Sure, the computer sucks, but let me have my moment, David. I suck at video games in general. I prefer the single-player introspective experience. Let me have my little victory where I can have it, please.
The party mode, whoever finds Donkey Kong gets an advantage of like having an easier timing, but Wario still sucked at. So I didn't think to screen cap the scores, but Wario got like 50 points and I got like 108 billion points. I
mean, canonically, Donkey Kong would of course have an advantage with this game.
Well, I was playing as Daisy.
Oh, well, again, Judas. I don't want to hear it. Heresy, getting Donkey Kong, or maybe his doppelganger, as a Jamboree buddy. Now, Jamboree buddies are like little assist trophies, basically. It's the character being like, I swear allegiance to you, and I'll help you out. What that will do is it'll give you an advantage in DK's Konga line, but it'll also enable Donkey Kong to blast you out of a barrel cannon elsewhere on the board. And, that's cool. I can remember at a time seeing a barrel cannon in a Mario Party game would have been the most mind-blowing thing. Because it's very hard to remember, but there was a time, long ago, when Donkey Kong appearing in a cameo game, appearing in a Mario game of this nature, there would be 0 Donkey Kong elements other than Donkey Kong himself. It wasn't until Mario Party 4 that they started to use pre-existing DK series imagery within Mario Party, and that's when Donkey Kong got a little DK barrel present as one of his birthday presents in Mario Party 4. So I'm always going to be appreciative of this sort of thing because I remember a time when this would have been radical, when this would have blown our hair back. Oh my god, there's a barrel cannon in a Mario Party game. And now, we grade that Diddy's not in it and everything, but like this would have been huge back in 2001, trust me. So it's cool to see, and it's cool to see Donkey Kong use tools of his trade rather than I'm gonna throw a mushroom at you because I'm in a Mario game. It's cool to see Donkey Kong bringing outside elements from his homeland to a Mario Party. I always love that sort of thing.
And it's one of those arrow barrel cannons too, so
Yeah, so one direction, right? You can only go, so it's consistent, right? It's not like when they use a barrel cannon, but they slightly tweak the use of the barrel cannon based on what version of a barrel cannon it's supposed to be. So, although I suppose if Donkey Kong's controlling it, it doesn't really matter. Anyway, the only other thing I wanted to discuss before we get to the calls is Kong's speech is back in this game, which isn't surprising because it is the third iteration of this Mario Party engine, I guess, on the Nintendo Switch. But Kong's speech is where in dialogue, the Kong characters are speaking in kind of this ape or monkey language where they go ooh 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 ooh, and then it translates in parentheses. So it's like ooh ooh, and then Donkey Kong or his lookalike says, "That was so much fun." That's what ooh ooh means in Kong speak. And I'm surprised. I mean, I'm not surprised on one hand because again,
and
it is just
ooh 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 means max power. Nobody can stop us. Let's see. Ooh,
we don't have
ooh,
to translate them
adventure
all.
Buddies, you and me.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. But
Again, you get the idea.
yeah, because this is yet another Mario Party game on the Switch, I'm not surprised that it's back. But on one hand, I am surprised because part of me thought that after the Super Mario Brothers movie, which depicted the Kongs speaking the same language as the rest of the Mario characters, I thought that maybe they would just quietly retire this conceit, this notion, because what does it matter? Like the Kongs can speak English or French or Portuguese or Japanese or whatever your language is. The Kongs speak it. And it's established. I mean, we hear Donkey Kong saying words.
Yeah, I mean, our long-standing fanon was that, Donkey Kong's ancestor found a bunch of washed-up TVs on shore and learned to talk.
And then Tropical Freeze confirmed it. David, what's your problem?
Because this kind of raises questions on how, like, Mario and everyone can understand him. They're just fluent in Ape and also Yoshi and Tribones and
my fanon, my fan patch, my fan wank, if you will, is that there is a native Kong language, the ooh ooh ooh, that maybe they developed under the Tiki Tak tribe. However, they also taught themselves human language because they had evolved the capability and the capacity for human speech. And eventually, the human language became the predominant one on Donkey Kong Island. And that's how they talk with people like Banjo and Timber, and we literally hear Diddy say, "I'm Diddy." And Donkey Kong, he says, "Okay." And, we hear the Kongs speak. Cranky says, "Next." We've heard them with our own ears. So my thinking is when they go to the Mushroom Kingdom, they use the Kong language, by and large, as kind of, code. Right. And maybe Mario and others do know it. Maybe they've learned it at this point. But I think that initially they started using the Kong language as kind of like nobody here will know it. So we'll just talk to each other and it'll be our own private language. Because Donkey Kong didn't really start using it until the other Kong started showing up. Right. So it just, everything makes sense, David. There's no plot holes. There's no inconsistencies in the DKU. Everything is consistent so long as we can pile up enough bullshit to cover up the mistakes. Oh yeah, there is one more thing.
Oh, is it, though there's sort of a minigame called Platform Peril, much like the Donkey Kong Country.
That's a returning minigame. That's old, right? That's been in Mario Party.
Yeah, but I'm old and I forget shit, so that was in Mario Party 1.
All right, well, let's address Diddy's appearance, or his lack thereof. So his image does appear. Like, literally, an image of Diddy appears. Not Diddy. Diddy doesn't appear in the background. He doesn't go, ooh, ooh, which means, hi, I'm Diddy. He appears on a ball in the minigame Big Top Quiz. And that's it. That's Diddy's there.
Yeah, which Toad has, Diddy Kong on? I don't know, the purple one. And yeah. Which one looks different? Oh, the one with 5 fingers on his hand.
So we have some calls to take, and I want to check in with the live stream really quick. Porygon says, you're actually kind of selling me on this game, Hyle. Imagine that, me selling Porygon Q on a Mario game. I feel like, I don't know. I feel kind of like the shoe is on the other foot now. And Meme Muppet says bilingual apes. They're very educated, the Kongs. They are apes of the entire world. They've been to the Olympic Games. Of course they would be bilingual. All right, we have 4 calls to take. So let's just play them. Let's play one. We'll talk about it. Then we'll play the other one. We'll talk about it. We'll play the other one. We'll talk about it. We'll play the other one, and we'll talk about it. And then we'll wrap this up. We'll share. We'll compare notes. What we want for DLC, if they ever do DLC for Super Mario Party Jamboree. All right, let's play that first call.
Hi, it's Scooter. So, Super Mario Party Jamboree. It's a decent Mario Party game. Except Diddy Kong's not in it. What the fuck? Except his render is on one of the fucking balls in that fucking ball minigame. Yo, what the fuck?
Oh, hey, it's a thing we just talked about.
Thanks, Scooter. And yeah, apropos that it is the minigame where they scoot Diddy's face around the floor. What? On one hand, I'm glad they acknowledged him. But on the other hand, yeah. What the fuck? All right, thanks for the call.
I mean, still more than Koopa Kid got.
Still more than the forgotten Koopa Kid. Bowser's forgotten child. Now, what's worse, though, David? I want you to ponder this. You don't have to answer it. You don't have to come up with your opinion on this, because I know it's kind of a heavy question. But I just want you to consider, and maybe think about it tonight. Maybe get back to me. Maybe post your answer on Blue Sky in the not too distant future. But what would be worse if you were Bowser's child? Would it be worse if he stopped acknowledging that you were his legal child, as he did the Koopalings from Super Mario Bros. 3? Or would it be worse if he just completely forgot you existed, as he did Koopa Kid from Mario Party? Think about that. What would hurt more? And we're going to play the second call.
Hey, this is Kyle. I'm here to talk about Mario Party Jamboree. As someone who I've always had an affinity for Mario Party series. Mario Party 6 was the first Nintendo game I ever played, and it's always hard to tell when you're in the honeymoon period, but I honestly think this might be the best Mario Party game of all. It's the first time since 5 we've had more than 6 boards. In fact, I don't think we've had more than 5 boards since 9 or 10. It's got elements from all the Mario Party games. It feels like I'm really glad they brought back traps from the GameCube titles, even though I wish there were more of them. And it has an amazing character roster, and hey, for Hyle, they made a big effort to make it feel like a real world rather than an artificial one. I know I was a bit hesitant on the longer minigames, but I feel like going to do 15 turns instead of 20, it works and still makes the game more engaging. Plus, I feel like the ally system is a way to highlight character personalities without inventing a tier list like you got in Super Mario Party. Plus, we have online at launch and a better company like in Superstars. I know a lot of people are upset about Diddy and might not be fond of all the mooks, but I feel the mooks are fine here. It's better to put them in a lower spin-off than Mario Kart, which has eclipsed the mainline games in popularity. Hell, I'm the only DK fan on the planet that actually prefers DK as an NPC. Not just for gameplay, but also for more reasons. But to go into that would require a second call, which I'll do, and you can choose whether or not to play it. If you don't choose to play it, I'll just say it again whenever you guys talk about Mario Party again, like, say, Mario Party 2 turns 25 in January, and you haven't done a spotlight. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But anyway, I love Mario Party Jamboree. I love watching all the YouTubers play it, and I love playing it myself. I'm hoping you guys are having fun too. And now for the essay, or goodbye, whichever you pick. As for why I'm against DK being playable, well, you see, it all has to do with why you compete in Mario Party. It's to be a superstar. The games are kind of vague on what that means, but it's clear as some kind of ultimate power. And based on the fact that the Wish Granters from the Paper Mario series, the Star Spirits Host 5, the first DK game, DK was an NPC rather than a playable character, I think it's best to say they grant your heart's desire. Another point to this idea is that it's generally agreed Luigi is the canonical winner of Mario Party 3, since he's the only one without a dedicated star stamp in story mode, and your final two opponents are always Daisy and Waluigi. The first Paper Mario game and Super Mario RPG both established Luigi's biggest desire in life was the chance to be a hero like Mario. The first game in the Mario franchise to release after Mario Party 3 was Luigi's Mansion, which was Luigi's first time being a star outside of an educational title. In Mario Party 2, every CPU has a favorite item. Donkey Kong is the one that summons Bowser, with the game justifying it saying DK thinks he can beat Bowser in a fight. In Mario Party 5, DK has a chance to act as a deterrent from Bowser spaces, meaning his desire has always been to protect others and act as equal to Bowser. This dichotomy is continued in 6, where DK rules over the day and Bowser causes chaos at night. In Mario Party DS's story mode, Bowser goes out of his way to turn DK to stone rather than just shrinking him like the playable characters. And freeing DK from his petrification is the key to the hero's victory. So it's clear DK wanted to be essentially the Mario Party equivalent of Gandalf and a hope bringer. So that's why I feel 10 making him a playable character again was a mistake. He went from the guy who could fight to take Bowser on after the fight to cowering in fear whenever he's on a Bowser space. I'm fine with it in Superstars since Bowser's also playable here, but I honestly think Jamboree makes the problem worse by making it so DK isn't afraid of Bowser. He's afraid of a fake illusion of Bowser. Like, do you think it was worth making DK playable again if it meant regressing his character development in the series lore? I honestly don't think so. I would have honestly preferred them to actually just drop Donkey Kong's playable character entirely to bring back the DK space, and then have only Diddy. Or if you feel having both are important, I would have probably dropped Bowser or Boo since they're already NPCs. But I'm curious.
Oh, and then they cut off. But thank you, Kyle, for the call. I kind of agree with you on some of those points. I did like, as much as I did not like Donkey Kong not being a playable character, in sort of the GameCube through Wii era Mario Party games. Like I said earlier in this episode, I did like that he was the heroic counterpoint to Bowser and that Donkey Kong kind of resigned from the like day-to-day Mario Party nonsense. Like it was now beneath him, you know? And I think you compared him to Gandalf. I'm sure Donkey Kong is Gandalf, but I don't know. It's really hard for me to get invested when you reduce Donkey Kong to that level. So conceptually I liked it, but I'm more of a Donkey Kong guy. And so I'm honestly not upset that he's playable again because I have more to do and my brain has more to glom onto as a Donkey Kong guy. Now, I liked your idea. I loved your idea of keeping Donkey Kong as an NPC and bringing in Diddy as kind of the permanent Kong character. The problem with that is that Nintendo and all of its affiliate studios seem to have no consistency with keeping Diddy as a playable character in any of these games. For whatever reason, he just comes and goes, and we don't know why. I mean, it took 10 years to get him into a version of Mario Kart 8. So, I would like it. I would be fine just playing as Diddy. But Nintendo would never allow it because they would see something shiny, or they would see a squirrel outside or something, and then they would delete Diddy from the files and not realize it until 3 more sequels down the line. So yeah. So that's why I'm okay with Donkey Kong being playable, because I take what I can get.
Yeah, I mean, I missed the entire GameCube and Wii era of Mario Party, so I basically missed that whole character development. So, yeah, I think more people would have wondered, why is Diddy playable and not Donkey Kong?
I mean, like I said, everybody's favorite Mario Party is a different Mario Party. And Kyle sang the praises of Mario Party 6, which is the one with the sun and the moon. And I liked it better than Mario Party 5, if I'm honest. But probably not one of my favorite Mario Parties, but I respect everybody's opinion because it is all subjective. So thank you for the call. Gave me something to think about. Let's go and play our third call.
Hello, Kongversation. This is TJ calling in on my actual birthday a couple hours before I have to go to a real-life party to talk about Super Mario Party Jamboree. So I guess to start, I'll say I was a huge Mario Party fan growing up. I loved the Nintendo 64 games. I loved all the GameCube ones. I definitely kind of fell off during the modern era. I wasn't a big fan of those. But I will say Mario Party Superstars, I thought that was fantastic. I thought that was a great throwback. I thought it was really well made. I thought it had a great selection of minigames and boards. I had a lot of fun with that. And so while I was a little concerned that Jamboree was sharing the Super branding, I am happy to report that after playing it, it definitely feels like a very competent marriage of kind of the older Mario Party styles and some of the newer mechanics. I will say, if there were 2 qualms that I had about this game, one of them is that I feel like it's a little too forgiving, like especially back in the day during the older Mario Parties. When you had 0 coins, it really felt like you had 0 coins. It felt like there was nothing you could do. And I'm looking at some of the changes that the more recent games have made, and, to steal coins with Boo, he doesn't charge you anymore. He does it for free. And I feel like that's such a tide-turning event. Like, a person with 0 coins didn't have the power to do that. But that's kind of petty. And I don't want to get too political in regards to, like, finance and classism and stuff like that, but that was one of the things that made the original Mario Party feel a little more cutthroat, I'll say. And another one is that I feel like there's a big lack of options in this game. Now, I know there are settings in different modes where you can do things like, this one playing with 30 turns has 3 bonus stars at the end, or playing in this mode, reduces the amount of coins that the lucky spaces will give you. But what I really wish Mario Party would start to do is do what Mario Kart and Smash Brothers does, where you can just go into the settings and toggle all those things to kind of customize your play session to the way you want it. Like, what if I don't want the lucky spaces on at all? What if they just throw too many coins into the mix and I'd prefer to play with them off? What if I want to turn the Jamboree buddies off? They feel really committed to this ally mechanic that they came up with in Super Mario Party, and they just really want that to stick around in some form. But what if I want to play with them off? So I guess it feels like I'm nitpicking, but those are probably the 2 biggest issues I have with the game. But like I said, it's very well made. It is a lot of fun, and it does feel like it leans more towards classic Mario Party than some of the more recent ones anyway. So I definitely think it's a lot of fun. So, thanks for taking the call.
Well, thank you for the call, TJ. Happy birthday. I'm a little bit nervous that you said it was your birthday because every time I establish when somebody's birthday is, on something DK Vine does. YouTube's algorithm hates it, so I'm really afraid it's gonna do a number on this episode on YouTube. But happy birthday all the same. You know what? It's worth it. It's worth it to wish one of our viewers and readers a very happy birthday. And thank you for the call. Yes, listeners, whatever, interpreters. But to your points, they could have gone more in depth with the options to really allow the customization, but I'm shocked that they've done it to the level they have. And again, maybe it's just lowered expectations. Maybe it's because I expected so little from previous Mario Party experiences that I'm just wowed when they do anything at all. But I'm happy with the level of options in this one. And like, maybe they're afraid they would make it too rote. They would make it too stripped down by allowing people to just dig out whatever they didn't like. And maybe they thought this was a happy middle ground. And maybe they will do what you said in future Mario Party game and really go all in on the Mario Kart / Smash Brothers style of customization for your individual rounds and games and what have you. But I'm fine with it. This is a way better Mario Party experience than I've had 25 years. So I'm not going to nitpick it to death. I'm shocked I love it as much as I do.
Yeah, I mean, more options are always a good thing, but yeah, it can be a bit overwhelming, I guess, for the more casual Mario Party audience. And
then you'd have people arguing about it too before they start a game.
People want 50 terms with nothing but Bowser spaces just because they can.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that would be good content for YouTube that wouldn't be buried under the algorithm. I'm getting hung up. Let's take our fourth
Unless
and final.
You're playing Mario Party 4 because it's his birthday.
That's right. So I'm gonna play a final call so I don't go on a rant again about my own problems.
Hey, this is Chronex. I'm calling in about the conversation on Super Mario Party Jamboree. I think I'll very quickly echo what I assume a lot of callers are talking about, that the game itself is very good, but that the amount of Donkey Kong content is unfortunately pretty little. Of course, only Donkey Kong is a playable character. That's probably the biggest thing. What I am curious about, I just want to ask everybody on the call, how do you feel about covering spin-off games like this? Because unfortunately, for slow periods of Donkey Kong, which we have been in for a while now, it is a lot of the new game output to cover. And I'm wondering, just through that process of playing and documenting all of the spin-off games, have you developed a appreciation for things like Mario Party, Mario Strikers, etc., just sort of in and of themselves, or are you really only there for Donkey Kong? Obviously you wouldn't cover it if Donkey Kong wasn't present at all, but would you be sad to see that go, or do you like the Mario spin-offs now? Just curious on a personal level.
So we talked about earlier about getting burned out on too many Mario parties, but they've since slowed it down considerably. So I think it's fine the way it is now.
It doesn't feel as overwhelming as it used to, and I will say that in the Switch era, it's been a very hit or miss for me, where things like the Mario Golf game, it was all right, but it really just paled compared to past Mario Golf games, I feel. Where the Mario Tennis game I thought was spectacular. It was great. But this is the first Mario Party game that I'm obviously jazzed about, where I'm ooh, I can't wait to play more. I can't wait to document more. Can't wait to really dig into this one. So it really is just a case-by-case basis. I think that obviously, as far as editor-in-chief of DK Vine, who's on every episode of the Kongversation podcast, I would not be playing these games if Donkey Kong wasn't in them. Because the truth of the matter is, I don't have time to play anything that isn't related to DK Vine's interest. And I know that makes me a bad, shallow gamer. But it's the life I've chosen for myself as a Donkey Kong journalist, because I've a lot of interests that aren't video games. And so it really is trying to balance my life as best as possible. And because of that, I don't play anything that's not DKU at this point. I can't. I don't have time to fit it in. And like occasionally I might play an older title on Nintendo Switch Online or Nintendo Switch Online plus expansion pack. You know, like I played through Super Mario
Switch Online plus expansion pack M-rated version.
Yes. I did play through the Super Mario, like the classic Super Mario 2D platforming series earlier this year. And discovered, wow, I still like Super Mario Brothers 2. Oh, I still like Super Mario World. But, I mean, that's few and far between. So, it is Donkey Kong. And sometimes Diddy Kong. And very seldom Funky Kong. And even less than that, Dixie Kong. And, you know, Tiny and K. Rool were in some of those.
I mean, Cranky Kong got a Lego figure.
Cranky Kong got a Lego figure. You're right. You're absolutely right. Squawks was there, Rambi,
yeah.
Mole Miners, Snaggles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Snaggles, yes. Yeah. I don't remember his name.
But yeah, I mean, it is Donkey Kong that brings it, like, focused for DK Vine, but it's a case-by-case basis how invested I get into it. Do I, like, wish we had less, or do I wish we had more? Honestly, I wish they would break it up with Donkey Kong games. I think there is probably room for Donkey Kong to have something that's not just a platforming adventure. Like, I think that you could do
Donkey Kong Golf.
Well, maybe not Donkey Kong Golf at this point, but you could do, like, we've talked about Donkey Kong X Games, we've talked about Swanky Kong's Pizza Buffet. It would be nice to have more stuff for us, but as far as the Donkey Kong content in this, obviously it could be more. I do like what we've gotten. I think it's cool that Donkey Konga gets homaged in a mini game, and that's I mean a complete 180 from how I would have felt 20 years ago. But I'd be like, they're shoehorning Donkey Kong into this now too. I look at Donkey Kong's Final Smash and Brawl. I mean, we had a conniption about that, but now I think it's cool because I'm like, yeah, it's part of the legacy, it's part of the heritage, and I like the barrel cannons there, you know. But it would be nice, obviously, to have Diddy Kong. So, really quick, David, what we want if we actually get DLC for this game, because the theory is they developed the 2 retro boards for DLC for Superstars and they just decided, no, we're going to do another Mario Party game. Now, obviously, they might just decide that again, because they might say, we've got the Switch 2 now, the Super Switch, whatever we're going to call it. Why don't we just do a new Mario Party game? It's technically a new system, even though it's backwards compatible. Let's do a new Mario Party game. That's probably the route they're going to go, looking at the history of Mario Party. But let's just say that they're like, no.
Just do what they do with, like, the Xbox Series X and X and just make just update games to work, 4K.
Exactly.
Ray tracing or whatever.
They're gonna follow Craig Duncan's lead as the new head of Xbox Game Studios, and they're gonna say, well, Craig Duncan, Sea of Thieves is DKU. We make Donkey Kong games. It's all one family. Let's just do it the Craig Duncan way. So let's say they do DLC for Super Mario Party Jamboree. David, what do you want to see as far as characters, as far as boards?
Suppose Diddy Kong.
Really? Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Fascinating.
Seem to be talking about that a lot. So maybe more retro boards. Because since I kind of fell off the Mario Party series, they'd be new to me.
New to you, like NBC's Thursday night lineup during the summer.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody listening to this knows exactly what we're talking about. I'm sure everybody listening was alive back then.
It's like, I haven't seen this episode of ER, but don't worry, it's new to me.
Get people watching during the summer.
The whole idea of the summer, season seems strange to me now as somebody who's cut the cord and only watches streaming.
See, back in the days of before streaming,
David, we don't need to explain it.
I don't know.
We don't need to explain it to the little babies who Like, their Mario Party game is Mario Party the Top 100 or whatever. We don't need to do it, okay? Just look it up. Wikipedia exists. It's one of the few sources on the internet that hasn't been degraded because of Silicon Valley becoming just completely shit. So, Wikipedia, look it up. But even though Wikipedia did delete Diddy Kong's article, because they said it wasn't relevant enough, and then they deleted Diddy Kong from Mario Party? Coincidence? Probably. But you know what? That's my answer. DLC. Controversial take. But DK Vines Hyle wants Diddy Kong in the best Mario Party game since the original. Also, I would like DK's Jungle Adventure back as a board, and also that one that was kind of like Donkey Kong Country Returns. Thank you.
This has been a File 2 production.
Que rico.